Welcome back, dear friends, to your daily dose of ancient wisdom. Today we continue the reading of Tritiya Skanda, or Book 3 of Srimad Bhagavata Mahapurana, Discourse 11, which talks about divisions of time such as Manvantara. Maitreya continued. The minutest particle of material substance which cannot be further divided, which has not yet been evolved, nay, not even been combined with other similar particles, and hence eternally exists in that causal state, should be known by the name of Paramanu. It is the combination of more than one such Paramanus that create in the mind of men the illusionary notion of a unit. Even so, the entire range of material substance taken as an unspecified and undifferentiated whole before it undergoes further transformation, namely returns to its ultimate source or prakriti, constitutes what is known as the largest size. Just as the minutest particle of material substance, such as earth and so on, leads us to postulate the existence of a Paramanu, and the combination of material substance to that of the largest size, so can we infer the long and short measures of time, which, being a potency of the Lord, is the same as the Lord, all prevailing and unmanifest, and which is the circumscriber of the finite objects, in as much as in the form of sun it travels across the large and small dimensions of things. The measure of time, which in the form of the sun fills across the smallest particles of matter, is called as Paramanu, while that which extends over the whole lifespan of the universe, meaning of its creation to dissolution, is the longest measure of time in relation to the cosmos, namely the couple of paradhas constituting of lifespans of Brahma. Two Paramanus make one Anu or an atom, while three Anus make a Tarasa Renu, the minutest particle of matter or mote seen floating in space through the sun's rays that enter a room through the eye holes of a lattice. Please note, the words Anu and Tarasa Renu, though primarily denoting the dimensionals of the material objects, also signify the measure of time taken by the sun to travel across the aforesaid dimensions. The measure of time, which in the form of sun traveling across a composite of three Tarasa Renus, is known as Thruti. A Vedha consists of 100 Thrutis, while three Vedhas constitute that is known as a Lava. A composite of three Lavas should be known by the name of Nimesha, or the twinkling of an eye, while three Nimeshas are spoken of as a moment or Kshana. A composite of 5 moments is known as a Kshata, while 15 Kshatas go to make a Laghu. 15 Laghus taken together are called a Nadika. A couple of Nadikas constitute one Muhurta, while 6 or 7 Nadikas, according as the day or night in short or long, makes a Parahara, which forms 1/4 of a day or night of human beings. A pot of copper weighing 6 palas or 96 masas or 8 tolas, and which has a capacity of 1 prastha or 2 seers of water, should be bored at the bottom with a gold needle weighing 4 masas and 4 angulas, a finger breadth long, and left on water. The time which will be taken by such a pot to be filled with and consequently submerged in water is known as Nadika. The day and night of human beings consists of 4 yamas or quarters each, while 15 days and nights constitute a fortnight, which is bright and dark alternatively. O respecter of others, both these fortnights taken together make 1 month, which constitutes a day and night of the Pitras or the mains. 2 months taken together go and make a Ritu or a season, while a Ayana consists of 6 months. An Ayana is southerly and northerly by turns, according as the sun takes a southerly or northerly course, and the 2 Ayanas constitute a day and night of the gods in heaven. These are known as 1 year or 12 months on earth, and 100 years have been declared as the full lifespan of the human being. The ever-vigilant sun god, who is manifestation of the Lord himself and identical with the time spirit, and stays in the midst of planets, lunar mansions, and other stars, goes round the whole universe in a course of time beginning from a paramanu and extending to a whole year. The year, O Vidura, is variously termed as Samvatsara, Parivatsara, Idavastara, Anuvastara, and Vatsara. Accordingly, it is calculated on the base of revolutions of the sun, the Jupiter, the moon, and so on. Note, Samvatsara is the name of the solar year or period taken by the sun to pass through the 12 signs of zodiac, namely 372 days. The Parivatsara is the name of the period taken by Jupiter to pass from one sign of the zodiac to another. The Jupiter takes approximately 12 years to complete its circuit through the 12 signs. Iravatsara is the name of Savana's year, each month of which has a uniform duration of 30 days. Anuvatsara is the name of the lunar year, each month of which ends on the Amavasya. The Vatsara is the name of the year, each month of which constitutes 27 days only, the period taken by the moon to pass through each nakshatra or lunar mansions. Bear offerings, O men, to the sun god, the originator of the 5 kinds of years, who by his potency called time unfolds in various forms the capacity of the seed to germinate, who as huge ball of fire, which is one of the 5 gross elements, courses through the heavens in order to dispel the delusions of men, by cutting short their span of life and thus ridding them of their attachment for the pleasures of senses, and who, for those performing sacrifices with some interested motive, yields many kind of material fruits in the shape of heavenly and other enjoyments through the sacrificial performances. Vidura said, the full lifespan of mains, gods, and human beings has thus been stated by you as consisting of 100 years according to the measure of time, severally obtaining in 3 worlds. Now kindly tell me the lifespan of other higher enlightened beings such as Brahma, Sanaka, Bhrigu, and others who live outside the 3 worlds, namely in the spheres beyond the Indra's paradise. Your Holiness surely knows the course of all-powerful time, for the wise can see the whole universe with their eyes perfected through yoga or union of God. Note, a day and night of Pitras or the mains consisting of 30 days and nights of human beings. Hence, the full lifespan of Pitras would be reckoned at 3,000 years. Even so, a day and night of the gods consists of 2 ayanas or 360 human days and nights. Thus, the full lifespan of the generality of gods would work up to 36,000 human years. Maitreya replied, the 4 yugas, namely Krita Yuga or Satya Yuga, the Treta, the Dwapara, and Kali, along with their Sandhya or the transitional period marking the beginning of each yuga, and the Sandhyasma, the transitional period marking the end of each yuga, have been declared as consisting of 12,000 celestial years or 4,320,000 human years. The Krita Yuga and the succeeding yugas severally consist of 4, 3, 2, and 1,000 celestial years, plus twice as many hundred years, representing the Sandhya and Sandhyasma of each yuga. Note: a Satya Yuga consists of 4,800 celestial years, all told, 4,000 years of Satya Yuga proper, and 800 years representing the Sandhya and Sandhyasma combined. Similarly, a Treta consists of 3,600 years, while Dwapara of 2,400 and Kali of 1,200 celestial years, all told. In other words, a Kali Yuga consists of 432,000 human years, a Dwapara of twice as many, namely 864,000 human years, a Treta of thrice as many, namely 1,296,000 years, and a Satya Yuga of 4 times as many, namely 1,728,000 human years. Those who are conversant with the division of time call only the period investing a Sandhya and the following Sandhyasma, each of which comprises of 100 celestial years, as Yuga proper. For each of these yugas, a special dharma or code of virtue is prescribed. In Krita, dharma or virtue exists for the men, complete in its 4 limbs, namely austerpenance, internal and external purity, compassion, and truthfulness. In the other yugas, even as unrighteousness advances, virtue diminishes by 1 limb successively. That is to say, in Treta, austerpenance falls into destitute, only purity, compassion, and truthfulness are practiced in the name of virtue. In Dwapara, however, penance and purity both become obsolete, compassion and truth alone prevail. And in Kali, truthfulness alone remains, the other 3 virtues becoming very rare. Beyond the 3 worlds, from the Maharloka as far as abode of Brahma, 1,000 revolutions of the 4 yugas constitute a day, and equal in length is the night. Dear Vidura, when Brahma, the creator of the universe, goes to sleep, withdrawing all the 3 worlds into his belly. At the close of night, the creation of the 3 worlds commences, as in the preceding Kalpa, and continues for the livelong day of Brahma, which embraces the regime of the 14 Manus. Each Manu holds power for a period allotted to him, which is a little over 71 or 71 and 6/14 revolutions of the 4 yugas. During these Manvantaras, there are separate Manus and their descendants, separate groups of 7 rishis and gods, and the separate Indras, the rulers of the 3 worlds, and their attendants, Gandharvas, and so on, all of whom, excepting of course the descendant of Manu, are born together. This is the day-to-day creation of Brahma, which affects the 3 worlds alone, and which is the subhuman creatures, human beings, mains, and gods are born accordingly to their respective karma. During these Manvantaras, the Lord assumes the quality of sattva or harmony and protects the universe, exhibiting his strength in the form of Manus and others who are his own manifestations. At the close of the day, Brahma assumes a iota or tamoguna, the principle of inertia, and winding up his activity in the shape of creation, becomes quiet, retires for the night. At that time, everything else is withdrawn into him by the force of time. Again, when the night of the universal dissolution sets in, the moon and the sun as well disappear, and all the three worlds, namely Bhuh, Bhuva, Swa, get reabsorbed into his body. How this happens is described now. When the three worlds are being consumed by the divine energy in the shape of fire emitted by the mouth of Lord Sangharshana, the serpent god, the sages Bhrigu and others who have their abode in the Maharloka immediately above Indra's paradise feel oppressed by the heat of that huge conflagration and ascend from the Maharloka to the Janaloka, the next higher world. Meanwhile, all the seven oceans exceed their limits at the approach of the universal destruction. Their waters get unusually swollen, and with their waves tossed by the boisterous and fearful gusts of winds, they submerge all the three worlds in no time. In the midst of that vast expanse of water lies Srihari on his couch of Lord Ananta or Sesha, his eyes closed on account of sleep in the form of abstract meditation, the inhabitants of Janaloka extolling him on all sides. With the alternation of the days and nights of the above description, which can be easily deduced from the constant flux of time, the 100 years even of Brahma's life, which is the longest in this creation, are well nigh spent. One half of Brahma's life is called Parartha. The first Parartha has already expired, and the second is now running or has commenced in the current Kalpa. The first Parartha opened with a momentous Kalpa, the Brahma Kalpa, in which appeared Brahma, whom the wise recognize as Veda personified. The Kalpa that marked the end of the same Parartha is called the Padma Kalpa, in which sprang from the pool of Srihari's navel the lotus representing all the worlds. The present has been declared as the opening Kalpa of the second Parartha. O Vidura, the scion of Bharata, it is known by the name of Varaha Kalpa, inasmuch as Srihari took the form of the boar in this Kalpa. The aforesaid period of two Pararthas is figuratively spoken as a mere twinkling of an eye of the immutable, immortal, beginningless Lord, the sole origin of the universe. This all-powerful time ranging from a Paramanu, the smallest measure, to the length of two Parardhas has no control over the all-embracing Lord. It holds sway only on those who have identified themselves with a body and all that is associated with it. The egg-shaped universe, constituted as it is of the 8 causal principles, namely the primordial matter, the Mahat Tattva, the ego, and the 5 subtle elements, and the 16 evolutes like mind, the 5 senses of perception, the 5 organs of action, and the 5 gross elements, none of which evolves further, has a breadth of 5 million yojanas or 14 million miles, and is covered outside by 7 seats, namely earth, water, fire, air, ether, the ego, and the Mahat Tattva, each of which is 10 times larger than one that is surrounds. That cause of all causes, in which this universe, with all its covering sheets, look like a Paramanu, and which comprises myriads of other universes, is called the indestructible Brahma, and that is the transcendent reality of most ancient person, Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Spirit in embodied form. Thus ends the 11th discourse in Book 3 of Great and Glorious Bhagavata Purana, otherwise known as Paramahamsa Samhita. Thank you.